very long. Yeah. Not I'm recording on this phone.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Sila, otherwise known as To Thy Own Self, and we're back again with Questions with Q. We haven't done Questions with Q in a while, hey?
It's been a minute.
Has it been 60 seconds, really?
It's been a minute. Like, I've been avoiding the questions, actually.
He really has been avoiding the questions. Of like, hey, I've got questions with Q. He's like, not today.
I've been avoiding the questions.
Why have you been avoiding the questions?
I've been having a lot of fun. I've had so much fun in the past 2 weeks. So I needed to just be away from the seriousness of the world and just play with other kids.
I have a question for Q. For my brother. I think this is something you're very open about. I think.
They don't get me into trouble, girl.
Mental health.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, we could talk.
Mental health. What do you think is missing when it comes to the Black community in terms of mental health? Yeah. How do you, also with you answering that question, how do you feel you could do different as a father, as a brother, as a
uncle,
as an uncle?
Shout out to the Stash Gang, man. Yeah.
I find it particularly with guys, therapy is not something that...
It's not their thing, man.
Yeah.
So you gotta put up a tough facade and, you have to be strong. You don't cry. Nah, nigga, you can't cry. Yeah. So it's crazy because the questions you're asking me, I actually just had a conversation recently. There's this thing where there's apologies that you never received in life. And Black people, like, as a people, it goes back to the whole crab mentality. Because I was wrong, I'm not going to say that I was wrong because now I'm giving power back to you. It's simple things like that, because now I could spend the rest of my life resenting whatever it may be that the next person has done to me, because I still feel like I didn't get the apology that I deserved. And because of that, now I can go through my whole life living now without any remorse, and that shit kind of like builds up. So when we speak of what like is missing in the Black community when it comes to mental health, it's just the fact that we just don't understand how we mess each other up. Literally, from the friendships we have, to the relationships we have, to the family ties that we feel that we have to keep. The things that we believe are tradition and shape us, because when you look at these aspects of being Black, especially in South Africa, there's something that you have to live up to, because so now, because you have to live up to these things, I can't now pull up in the streets and be emotional about shit. I can't stop I can't speak to my dad 1, 2, 3. As I'll tell me, like, please give me advice. What do I need to do so that me and my dad have a better relationship? Because he's gonna start looking at me as umuntu weak, swag, super weak, a little bit strong, very don't hold it in, grind it out. So it's only in the Black community where people need to prove a point to somebody, you understand? So that leads to this unseen pressure that builds up, and we don't have the spaces to talk. There's no platforms I can talk freely. It's the Black mentality that keeps our society locked in the mud. So we need to first find ways as a band to how do we reach, okay, we understand slavery, apartheid, whatever form of oppression we went through placed us in the mud. We are 5 steps behind. But now, why don't we unite to find ways to make it better in the mud? Huh? Let's turn the mud into some sort of a victory. Those that placed us in the mud should look at the mud and now envy the mud. So it's because we can't be open about certain things. We are stuck, and your problems are your problems. And because your problems are your problems, then if you end up in a point where you are depressed because of whatever issues that you may face, you have nobody to turn to, because the society and the traditions that you are raised under don't allow you to talk. Because if you think about therapy, therapy is basically expressing your emotions. There's really nothing more to it. So in the mud, there's no platforms of expressing your emotions, because everybody's trying to guard something about them. The females want to prove I am woman enough. The men want to prove I am man enough. Because that's how it is in the mud. So how can we change that? It's gonna take many years.
How are you changing it in your life, in your sphere?
Crazy enough, it's conversations, man. Like how you speak to people. Like if I'm gonna greet you and say hi CeeLo, how are you? And then just proceed with my day like I didn't just greet you and ask you how are you. It means in the first place, I don't care how you are. I'm just doing it as a formality. So how we even conversate with each other needs to be in a sense of when I ask you, how are you? I really want to know, how are you doing?
But you know what I've found with that, because I do have days where, not even just days, there's moments where I'm like, okay, I'm being so passive in this conversation and I really want to know how this person is doing. So I'll be like, how are you? And really think about it before you answer. Don't just, because it's so, we end up answering in such a passive way of like, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good. And you really didn't check in with yourself and go see, how are you?
Yeah.
And often enough when I do that with people, especially my close circle, I always get the doing grand.
Yeah.
It's like a shock to their system that now they have to check in. Nah, I'm not about to check in.
Why are you asking?
I'm not about to check in grand, full stop. And you're just like, are you really good though? Like, yeah, I'm grand.
When it comes to mental health and how we deal with issues of mental health, therapy doesn't really need to be a thing humble one psychologist, unless obviously you're dealing with something that is severe chronic depression, severe chronic schizophrenia, you know the works. But I'm talking about a person who's just going through depression because of problems.
Yeah.
A person who's going through mind shifts because of problems. People that are having flashbacks because of problems that could be solved through something as simple as talking. Because if I really ask Uslondi, how are you? I must be willing to hear, how is CeeLo? And as much as I might not have any help, but because I have asked CeeLo genuinely, how are you? And actually gave her the ear to listen, and whatever input I give, my impact to CeeLo at that moment could change what could have been a bad day into an awesome day. Our problem now, especially in the corporate world, I see it all the time. In the morning, in the elevator, everyone is rushing to work. Hey, Q, how are you? Hey, you're greeting the next person already. That is not how humanity should be. The problem is that we want to be involved in everything at once. We want to be in different conversations at once. We do it to our kids as well. Our parents did it to us as well. The adjustment. We are not having the conversations even with our kids, but we expect a perfect society of healthy kids with great minds and great mental stability, and we expect them to change the world.
I like that. I like the point you bring about adjustment. I feel like even in our adult lives, adjustment, adaptability doesn't always come easy with everybody.
Yeah.
changing environments, changing work, like even if it's managerial. I was like, what's that word? Yeah, even if it's management, even if it's moving from a different workplace, that adaptability, like saying, hey, how are you finding your new workspace?
Exactly.
Checking in on people, like, hey, are you coping?
Yeah.
Hey, I know you. It's literally the smallest things that make all the difference in one's mental health.
The world has just become such like a fast-paced like race. We all feel the need that we're against each other, and the need to compete is creating havoc. Because some people really don't deserve to have any form of mental problems, but because they are raised in this eggshell, England or wherever they're raised, and then they expect you when you turn 18, when you now burst into the world, that you'll just adapt like this. It's crazy because when you get to like let's say from a small town like somewhere in the Bunus, né? You come from a small town and then you're just thrown into the city, and your parents just expect you to adapt, and then you come back home, maybe you're pregnant or you've impregnated someone, or now you're drinking, you never used to drink, you're smoking, you're doing all these things. And it's because they always treated you in this egg, and they never really had the conversations with you about something as simple as like, how was your day? Something as simple as, are you actually coping with other kids? Because social dynamics, the reason why some kids are not sociable, it is not that they don't want to be sociable, it's because how they're raised at home. Now when's lock? You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. Don't do that. It's not for people like you. You understand? So you're already limiting the brain, and then you want that very same child to excel in the outside world, where everything there is just there for them. And that child goes outside there limited. And most probably they're going to meet a human being who's liberated mentally, and boom, recipe for disaster in the house. Now, when they meet the world, they are most likely to overdo it. And once they realize now that, oh snap, I was not supposed to do this, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to start going through into pressure is the main reason for depression. Pressure is the main reason for anxiety, because depression defines your past, anxiety defines your fears of your future. So it's all pressure, literally. So if you're going to live too much thinking, oh snap, this is how my life is supposed to be, this is how I have been raised and taught, and these are the rules of life, 1, 2, 3 cannot be done without doing this, that's depression, because you are letting your past feed you in your present.
Sure.
And then because your past is feeding you in your present, now your future looks scary. And that is called a fucking anxiety. Now you are anxious. Uguti, I am failing my present because of the things that shaped my past. And now I'm worried about my future. And it hasn't even come yet.
Damn.
And it hasn't even like arrived into the palm of your hands for you to actually say, Uguti, this is my future. And you might not even, there's a sad truth, you might not even be there to experience that future. We worry about a time that we might not be there to see. And we worry about a time that we've already lived through, that we can't enjoy a moment like now. If I'm going to live, think about what's going to happen Monday, what's going to happen 2 months from now, then I'm bringing myself down for something that I don't even know if I'll be there to see. I've learned to apologize in time as well, because the thing is, people think that an apology can wait. An apology can never wait. If you really want to apologize. People who have wronged you somehow want to apologize, but they feel that that apology can wait for the perfect moment. And there's never a perfect moment for an apology, because most of the time, here's what happens. The person that you need to apologize to will either die or you will die, and they will always hate you without knowing that you actually wanted to apologize to them. We cannot live in the past because it's done, it's dusted. We cannot live in the future because we have not seen it. The only things we can change are here, today.
You're here now.
Now, and we can't even change the last minute, the last second.
You can't go back on what you just said.
You cannot.
It's said already.
You cannot. When we speak of mental health, especially in Black communities, it's because of we don't want to break down the barriers of what shaped us. We need to be able to say with him, yes, I understand my traditions. Yes, I understand my role in my culture. Yes, I understand my role in my society. Yes, I understand my role in the Black community at large. But what can I do today? Not what they did in the past. Nelson Mandela walked his walk. Shaka Zulu walked his walk. Malcolm X in America walked his walk. Saddam walked his walk. Everybody has walked their walk in the past. The people that we feel were liberated and we need to look up to as role models, they've walked their walk. And their challenges are nothing compared to what you are facing. We need to be the ones that look at the system today and be like, we need to shape it today. A lot of people go insane, lose their minds, end up in a cage somewhere in a mental institute. Something that could have been solved just by fucking talking.
So conversing.
Simple.
Conversing is the way.
The only way. There's never a right time because you may not be there to experience that time. And if you're going to worry about that right time, you are allowing anxiety to knock on your door.
So ultimately, what you're saying is, don't live in your past, don't live in your future. Be patriotic about your people, and converse.
Gotta talk. If you're wrong, the one thing Black people don't understand is if you're wrong, apologize. Literally like pointing a gun at somebody's head because I could do you wrong. And that could be the reason why you could never be well mentally. You could never be trusting. You could never be welcoming. You could never be able to allow people into your world ever again because I was unable to say simple words. I'm sorry for 1, 2, 3. Our mental health issues are based in our structures, in our homes, in our relationships, in our friendships. Saying that you're sorry is not a big issue. A lot of kids that go through mental issues, I'm so depressed, young kids. It's nothing deep. Parents need to be able to say to their kids, I am sorry I was not a good parent. I am sorry that I did not speak to you about 1, 2, 3. I am sorry that I did not explain to you that this is what life is. I'm sorry that I kept you in the house instead of allowing you to experience the world at a younger age. Because now the world is swallowing you up and I did that to you. Because sometimes you're depressed because people kept you in a cage. And then when they let you out, they expect you to understand what is going on out there. You understand what I'm saying? You can't raise a hunting dog in the house and expect it to go hunt tomorrow. You can't.
This is a lot. I feel like I've been schooled. So ultimately, converse, create spaces where you can have conversation, spaces where that foster the unlearning of learning, and converse, break down the barriers. Don't live in your past, don't live in your future. Be present, be in the here and now, and allow yourself to be present, to break down those barriers and converse, talk, create your own therapy spaces, basically, ultimately, and be united as a people to break down certain barriers and stop judging, prejudging, and allowing what we have been taught to be the norm to be the norm. Create your own norm. Create your own pressures. Don't let society pressure you into things that you're not comfortable with, things you don't want to do, things that aren't even aligned with you. I think it's very important to always stop, pause, check in with yourself. Check in on what do you believe in? What are your values? What are you trying to get out of life? And not so much focusing on my parents want this for me, my friends want this for me, my friends think I'm this person, but check in on yourself. be sure of what you want, and constantly evaluate that. And if tomorrow it changes, it is okay, because tomorrow is done, you know, and today is now, and all you have is the here and now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It went a bit deep. It really went a bit deep. I learned a lot from this video, and let us know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys.